because they're not going to stop this fight anytime soon. In fact, we now know, I actually knew this weeks ago, but it is now eminently public that the White House coordinated to make sure that infamous memo from the National School Board Association was written to begin with. Now, to back up, for those of you who maybe you're new and you were living under a rock when this happened, because this is like inside baseball stuff. This is inside baseball stuff. But essentially what happened is what was it even? A couple months ago now? A couple months ago, the National School Board Association wrote a memo to the White House and the Justice Department saying, hey, can you guys do us a solid and label parents who are at school board meetings domestic terrorists? Okay, thanks, bye. And we were all really upset about that. And then Merrick Garland in the Justice Department wrote back a memo saying, sure, we will label parents as domestic terrorists. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing. That wasn't exactly what was written. But at the time, there was a lot of like DMs and things going back and forth in the anti-CRT people that are fighting back against this. We all suspected that the White House coordinated with the president of the NSBA to write that memo. Every single one of us suspected it. And then Parents Defending Education did a FOIA request, and they found out that, yep, there was coordination. And now finally, at long last, that coordination is being reported in the mainstream media. So let's just make sure everyone's clear on what happened. The memo that the National School Board Association wrote, asking that parents be labeled as domestic terrorists, did not start at the National School Board Association. It started at the White House. The White House asked the National School Board Association to write that memo so that the White House could then respond to it. That's what happened. Let's read this story from Fox News. NSBA coordinated with White House, DOJ, before sending notorious domestic terrorist letter, according to emails. Newly released internal emails reveal that the National School Board Association coordinated with the White House and the Department of Justice before sending President Biden the notorious letter that compared concerned parents to domestic terrorists. Emails provided to Fox News show the NSBA had coordinated with the White House weeks beforehand. Viola Garcia, the NSBA president, whom the Department of Education later named to a federal board, sent a memo to the NSBA members on October 11th, but dated October 12th. Or maybe it was only a month ago. Time passes. God, I have no sense of time anymore. Side note, does anyone have no sense of time anymore? I really don't. Maybe it's just because I sit in my house all the time reading the news. That's it. Anyway. Viola Garcia, the NSBA president, who the Department of Education later named to the federal board, sent a memo to the NSBA members on October 11th, but dated October 12th, providing a timeline of the NSBA's interaction with the White House ahead of the letter to Biden, which the NSBA sent on September 29th. 5 days later, on October 4th, the DOJ issued a memo directing law enforcement to investigate threats to school boards. On October 22nd, the NSBA issued an apology for the letter. And it's worth noting that something but like at least a dozen states at this point have actually pulled out of the National School Board Association because of this memo, up to and including my state of New Hampshire. Concern over the current climate for school board members is also a top priority as disruption at school board meetings grows and members face growing threats, Garcia wrote at the time, according to the memo obtained by Parents Defending Education through a Freedom of Information Act request. I don't know why it took Fox News so long to report on this, because I feel like Parents Defending Ed got those emails like weeks ago. So I don't know why it took Fox News so long to report on this, but whatever. I guess what can you do? Sometimes it's better. Sometimes it's better to celebrate that people show up to the party rather than pointing out how effing late to the party they were. In a September 14, 2021 meeting of the NSBA Organization of State Association Executive Directors Liaison Group, they were informed there had been a meeting with White House staff that morning, and the NSBA was preparing to send a letter to the president. So you know what this is saying? On September 14th, the NSBA met with the White House, and as a result of that meeting, they were preparing to send a letter that later became this infamous memorandum. Subsequently, on September 17, 2021, the interim executive director emailed notice to the State Association executive directors that indicated a letter requesting federal assistance would be sent. In a response to the letter sent by the NSBA on October 4th, the Attorney General announced in a memorandum widely shared through the U.S. Department of Justice that he was ordering all U.S. attorney offices and local FBI offices to reach out to state and local law enforcement officials to coordinate efforts on this problem within 30 days of the memorandum. Blah, blah, blah. Another email exclusively sent to Fox News revealed the NSBA had discussed the issue with the White House for weeks before sending the letter. Garcia and Chip Slavin, an NSBA executive, altered the text of the letter to satisfy the curiosity of White House staff. In talks over the last several weeks with the White House, they requested additional information on some of the specific threats, so the letter also details many incidents that had been occurring. So just to put a real fine point on it, excuse me. So just to put a real fine point on it, the NSBA had a meeting with the White House. Then the NSBA decided to write this memo. Then the NSBA coordinated with the White House to write the memo and made edits that the White House asked for. Now, why would the White House ask for this? Because they wanted Merrick Garland to be able to respond. This was like just trying to plan a little political show for everyone. That's all this is. That's all it ever is. Anytime stuff like this happens that seems crazy and ridiculous, it's because they're trying to put on a little political show. America was set up based on government being a necessary evil. We have forgotten about the evil and overemphasized the necessary. I think that is 100% correct, which is why I, as you guys know, absolutely support defunding the schools, because I don't think the government should have any business in education. I think it's the only way we solve the problem. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll take school choice in the meantime. I'm not being unrealistic. I don't think we're going to get to defunding the schools and eliminating the Department of Education overnight. I just don't. But I do want people to understand that this is not a fixable problem. It's not. The greatest trick the teachers' unions ever played were convincing the public that teachers are not government employees. If your children go to public schools, your children are going to government schools. They are built and are achieving the specific goal of making your kids malleable to support whatever the state wants them to support. It's simply the way it is, guys. And it is not a fixable problem. This has been building for decades and decades and decades. There is not a teacher pool that we have available to us in order to fix this problem. Because the vast majority of teachers that are teaching in the public schools are indoctrinated into this crazy, crazy, crazy ideology.